Howdy folks, Nathan coming at you from Carmel, California, and this, and that, and that, and those are the new Toyota RAV4, built brand new for 2019. This is a vehicle that's extremely important for Toyota, and the reason why? Well, it's one of their biggest sellers. Last year, they sold 400,000 of them. Other than pickup trucks, best-selling vehicle right here. And that's partially because of you guys, because you love crossovers. Knowing this, Toyota decided to build a brand new vehicle, and this is what we have. Now, today, we're gonna drive all three major models. We're gonna go off-road, we're gonna go along the coast, we're gonna go everywhere. And at the end of the video, we're gonna drive the most powerful, highest performing Toyota RAV4 here. This is the 2019 Toyota RAV4 Adventure. Now, this comes standard with the 2.5 liter four-cylinder engine, the same one that they use in the Toyota Camry. It puts out 203 horsepower and 184 pound-feet of torque. Now, by the way, you can't get maximum horsepower unless you scream up to over 6,600 RPM. This has an 8-speed automatic transmission. Combined MPG, 27 miles per gallon. That is pretty good considering that it is all-wheel drive. But what if you want a vehicle with front-wheel drive? Well, this is basically what you would get here. Same engine, same horsepower, front-wheel drive, 8-speed automatic, but this gets 29 miles combined. However, there's more. Over here, this is the hybrid. This is the powerhouse. Combined with its 3 electric motors and its 2.5 liter gas engine, it puts out 219 horsepower. That is actually pretty good. The reason why? Because the electric motors, you get maximum torque off the line. This thing flies off the line. It's one of the quicker Toyota RAV4s that I've driven. Oh, and by the way, combined MPG, 39. Three things you need to know about the off-road ability of this vehicle. Toyota made it really clear that they tested this off-road many times. So it's not like the old Adventure, it's not like the old RAV4. One of the things they did was they changed around the rear end. It's now a torque vectoring rear end.
Dynamic torque vectoring all-wheel drive is a new Toyota first. It's an all-new system.
Right.
So it's an on-demand all-wheel drive system capable of transmitting up to 50% of drive torque to the rear drive line. Once there, we have a twin coupler system that allows us to proactively send power as needed for maximum traction. In driving situations where there's a high G-load and we're going through a corner quick, we can actually proactively send power to the outside wheel to help improve the overall line traceability and vehicle dynamics. With the enhanced multi-terrain management system and dynamic torque vectoring working together, we can optimize braking to send power around the drive line, and then using the torque vectoring system, that helps us to individually control power to the rear left and rear right tire. Dynamic torque vectoring all-wheel drive does feature a different coupler system on our normal gas all-wheel drive models. We actually have another coupler on the front of the drive shaft that allows us to disconnect the rear drive line to optimize efficiency for times when you don't need all-wheel drive.
By the way, I'm going up and over this hill, which would normally be a bit of a challenge considering how off-camber it is, and seriously, no problem at all. Now, I am set currently in the rock and dirt mode. What's the name of this system again?
The multi-terrain select.
So there's variable settings that we have a dial on the center cluster where you can dial the traction settings for the terrain you're on. There's a downhill assist control system that utilizes the vehicle's vehicle stability control and braking system to help ease the vehicle down and maximize traction in very slippery conditions.
There's a hill coming up, but I'm going to push this button, and that allows for downhill assist control. Now, the cool thing about this system is that if I want to speed up a little bit, I can tap the accelerator, and when I let off, it'll maintain that speed. That's unique. Not many systems do that, so this is different. And let's give it a little try. So I'm going to add a little bit of acceleration, and yeah, sure enough, it's maintaining a slightly faster speed. Now, really, the main thing here is the ability to go up and over obstacles. So, Toyota added ground clearance. It competes directly against the Honda CR-V. That's really its main competitor, but that still is a vehicle with a turbocharged engine. It's also a vehicle with a CVT. Now, this has an 8-speed automatic. I prefer the automatic. Up the hill we go, guys. A little bit of momentum. Because this does not have a transfer case like your average everyday 4x4, momentum is your friend. And as you saw, this display here was going crazy, moving the tires around, finding the traction where it needed it. That worked really well. And kaboom, we're on the regular road with the 2019 Toyota RAV4 Adventure. I'll tell you why I like it, and this is why I think you guys are going to like it, because there's a little bit more personality that they've injected into the vehicle. You can tell in the interior, they've really gone and kind of bumped it up a little bit, made it a little bit more playful, a little bit more adventure-like, because orange is adventure, I guess. One really cool thing that I do appreciate is the fact that the interior feels roomier. The dash, it's similar to the current RAV4. However, they've added a few things, they've modernized it, and they're using a lot more soft touch materials. Not only does it help with the quality of the interior, but it also helps it with its quietness. That's right. It's fairly quiet. Quieter than the old RAV4. That's for sure. That car was a little bit loud. A lot more road noise. And one of the other reasons why you don't hear so much road noise is because they've moved the mirrors. They used to be on the pillars, now they're on the doors for better aerodynamics and for better visibility. Now, unlike the old Adventure, the new Adventure actually gets its ride height based on the tire size and wheel size. Now, this vehicle looks a lot like the Toyota 4Runner. I mean, they look like they're related now.
Yeah.
Can you tell me about that?
Yeah, so this is a unique model for RAV4. RAV4 Adventure uses a unique front fascia, 19-inch wheels that are unique to the model. It also includes larger over-fender flares and a unique roof rail.
I'm sitting behind myself. This seat was set up for me, for comfort. And I can tell you a couple things. First of all, I'm around 6'1". And sitting behind myself, well, look for yourself. I actually have some pretty good leg room. The bolstering's not bad back here either. And there's good headroom. All in all, a fairly comfortable seat. These do recline, and it is a 60-40 split bench setup that you can fold pretty much flat for large items. Yeah, you know what? I would say that this is so far the best RAV4 backseat I've ever sat in.
So the 2019 RAV4 is all new. It rides on a new TNGA K platform, which is a fancy way of saying we have a wider track, longer wheelbase, shorter overhangs. Its silhouette is primarily the same overall shape, but there are a lot of dimension changes on this new platform.
Base model Camry's 203 horsepower 4-cylinder engine is in here. It's a nice driving car. Well done. I need more time in it. That's what I need. And you know what else I need? I need to go to this next car. Whoosh! Behold, one of the volume sellers. This is the 2019 RAV4 Limited. It's not an HV. It is not an Adventure. This is the vehicle that they expect to sell many of. Now, this particular one has front-wheel drive. All-wheel drive is available for a premium, but with this vehicle in its current guise with front-wheel drive, it's capable of 29 miles per gallon combined. I like the aggressive growl. Performance-wise, I'm driving basically the regular vehicle. This is not the Adventure, and this is front-wheel drive. Honestly, going through corners, I can't really tell much of a difference. Did they make it fun? Yes, they did. I love the fact that they put that 203 horsepower 4-cylinder in here, because they have other 4-cylinder engines they could have used that are not as powerful. We have a vehicle that is more fun than the Honda CR-V. There. It's just like that. This is the section of the review that has to do with negatives, because let's face it, there are problems. They're pretty simple though. For instance, This is a limited with all the toys and whistles and bells, but it's not all-wheel drive. Doesn't really make a whole lot of sense. I don't think very many of you are going to buy that, but the real issue is with the Adventure, which is a great setup, but it doesn't come with skid plates. One of the things you want when you go off-road are skid plates. There's also the turning circle. All three vehicles have a problem with having very wide turning circles, which is unusual for these types of vehicle. Finally, there is a question of overall design. I think they look pretty good, but I'm just one guy. A lot of the people out there think that this looks too much like a truck, and as such, should be a truck. It's not a truck, it's basically a car. I've been driving this thing up and down these windy roads for a while now. It certainly does go where I tell it to go. There's really no feel. Very, very light steering. I would rather it be much heavier. It does build up artificially. Now there are several different grades of RAV4, starting with the LE, front wheel drive model. That's your base, and then you work your way up from there. Now from the LE you get to the XLE, which is available on the hybrid, and the XSE, which is also available on the hybrid, so is limited. And then from there you can also get the XSE, HV, and the limited package, both. These are not light vehicles, especially the hybrid, but the hybrid actually has a lighter battery. It's 11% lighter and smaller. Curb weights for the LE and the HV is 3,710 pounds. For the heavier all-wheel drive vehicles, it goes up to 3,800 pounds, and that's the limited and the HV. Now, in terms of towing, check this out. Up to 1,750 pounds with the hybrid, 1,500 pounds with the regular 2.5, and 3,500 pounds with the Adventure. And then the hybrid, that's right, from one to the other. And this is a very different vehicle.
This is our Toyota Hybrid Synergy Drive System 2. Essentially, it is our 2.5 liter gas engine that's paired with electric motors, essentially, to provide basically driving force to the wheels. Also, on all the hybrids is standard all-wheel drive. So there's an electric rear motor providing power on demand to the rear wheels whenever traction is needed.
This is the most powerful Toyota RAV4 you can buy right now. Why? Because it puts out 219 horsepower combined. And that's because it's the hybrid. Interesting thing about this vehicle though, if you want a hybrid, the premium is only, according to Toyota, around $800. That's not bad considering that you can get 39 miles per gallon combined. It's not just the fact that it's a hybrid, it's also the limited. So you get all the nice little interior goodies, including leather seats and leather trim up here. According to Toyota, it's longer, it's lower, and it's wider, just by a little bit. But here's some important numbers as far as performance people are concerned. It has around a 1-inch wider track in the front and around a 2-inch wider track in the back. The power this thing has is a trip. Here's the thing, you don't lose power even though it has a CVT. CVTs tend to suck the power away, or at least suck the fun away. Now this thing has a lot of get up and go. It really just up and goes, and then you can feel when the front wheels loosen, and they will, you lose a little bit of traction, the rear end just kicks right in and goes. I really like the way they made it feel. Driving on the road, they're able to mimic the feel of a sporty vehicle. It's actually kind of impressive. The steering, it's very light, but you're not buying a vehicle like this for really good steering feel. What you're trying to get is something that is very easy to maneuver, and this is very easy to maneuver. Nice wheels, right? You get several different types depending on the model that you get and whether or not you get a hybrid or the Adventure or the Limited. This is the Limited Hybrid, so Yeah, lots of different choices, but what's really important is what's inside. You see, there's an electric motor powering the rear wheels. There's no drive shaft connecting that motor to anything else. And the good news here is that when you're off-road, the system works actually rather well. You push one button and it figures out, oh, okay, you want to go off-road? No problem. And on top of that, you actually get a system that allows you to have better performance when you're going around corners.
So there's a button inside, a trail button, and essentially what that does is that if there's a free spinning tire, it will apply brake to that free spinning tire and distribute torque to the tire that needs grip.
It's not quite as intuitive as the system that you can use on the Adventure, where you can go through a dial and select rock or sand, basically. Nope, this is a little bit different. Now the EV mode doesn't really give you a whole lot of range. They weren't specific on how many miles you can get by just hitting that button. It's not like a plug-in hybrid where you can go into all EV mode for 10, 20, 30 miles. This is a totally different system. Primarily, this is just a hybrid. Now, another cool thing to think about, yes, it costs $800 more to get the hybrid over the regular RAV4, right? Which is already not bad. But the other thing is, if you get the hybrid, you get standard all-wheel drive. The electric motors, that's all standard. So, you suddenly are driving an all-wheel drive vehicle, and it happens to get 39 miles per gallon combined.
What the what? I just found this on a rock near the beach. Apparently the squirrels in Northern California wear little bomber jackets. That's awesome.
Toyota Safety Sense 2.0 offers a number of enhancements over the original Toyota Safety Sense. The pre-collision system now detects pedestrians in low light conditions, and we also added bicycle detection during the day. We also have a full-speed cruise control system now, which is full speed dynamic radar cruise control. And then we also have road sign assist. So now we're utilizing the camera in the front windshield, and we can detect certain speed limit, yield signs, so on and so forth, and project them into the multi-information display in front of the driver. Toyota Safety Sense 2.0 is standard across the board, so on all models.
So let's say you want to get into a 2019 Toyota RAV4. Well, that's going to cost you $25,500, plus of course delivery and and extra stuff and markups. Now, if you want to go a little bit higher and get yourself an all-wheel drive vehicle, that's an additional $1,400. But if you want to get yourself a hybrid, that's an additional $800, which isn't too bad. So, what if you want to get the whole kit and caboodle, the fully loaded hybrid, limited, with all the bells and whistles? Well, you're looking at over $35,000. Once again, competitive pricing. Thank you so much for joining me. I hope you had a good time. What's my favorite? Oh, probably the Adventure. It's kind of cool. You see the interior? Of course you did, because we showed it to you. For the Fast Lane Car, this is Nathan. Don't forget to go to tflcar.com for more news, views, and real-world reviews. We'll see you next time. Yeah. Totally bizarre.